Boom, boom, boom. All righty. I think it's working. Good grief, that's a bad delay. Big old bad delay. Hey, how's it going? I'm on call, so I have no idea how long I'm going to be. Speaking of that, I'm on call, so I have. Oh, there goes the dime. Whatever. I'm on call, so I got to make sure that my phone's good to go. So I have no idea how long this is going to last. I'm on call from Thursday morning to Thursday morning, and with the wacky weather, we just got rid of all the snow and ice. We're looking at shorts and t-shirt weather tomorrow and Sunday, and then we're going to be right back in the mid 30s, low to mid 30s, and they're talking snow up to an inch, and then play with roller coaster weather for a little bit, and then I think the following weekend we might be actually get up close to 70. So it's one of those with everything bouncing up and down, up and down, up and down. We never know what it's going to do to our system. So could last an hour, could last 5 minutes. I will never know when this thing decides it's going to go ballistic. When we were up on a little wandering around flea markety thing where I snagged some stuff, Mrs. Bigfoot found a little old tin measuring cup, and she thought it was neat, picked it up, and I haven't done anything to it because it was in really good shape. Now, today, while I was out wandering around, I found measuring spoons. Of course, they're all caked with gunk and grime, but I figure why not try to clean them up, leave all the dents, dings, and bends in them, clean them up, get them to shine, then we can just let them sit these, let them naturally age, which is actual true patina. So when these naturally start to age and have it form its own true patina like it would be without any kind of introduction of chemicals or any, who knows what's been spilt or on these over the decades, then these can go with her little measuring cup tin, whatever else tins I can find. I've already been told that I have to, so between the cabinets and the window, I've got to build shelves to go up so she can start putting cool little things like this. But this was really not what I was going to do, but I was going to give it a bit to let this get started. But for the most part, I was like, you know what? I got to at least get one done before I migrate into tools. Denny, you asked about what Dremel bits I used earlier in a comment on another video, right? Because of on calling all that mess, I came back and found out I had a long list of messages I had caught up on. Okay. I thought so, but so gotta be careful since those are thin light metal. Obviously, some of the things I use is what Magdad loves, and actually, these are some of the best things I have. These are the different color wheels. These are what, if you've watched some of my other videos and stuff, that's what I usually use when I'm going on the inside. If I can find one. That's what I use when I clean the inside. Oh, there we go. Get the rust and crud out of the inside of the open jaws. They clean so much else, but those are my go-to for the inside of open jaws. I also have fiber puffs, I guess you want to call it. 120, 180, 320, 400, and 600 grit. These kind of explode and make a mess, but they do really well at cleaning also. I need a wrench, or not a wrench, but a socket. Let me find one that's, well, we'll use this. So when I'm cleaning inside here, if it's 1/2 inch, I usually use one of the cups. I turn it on high speed, it'll spin, it'll twist itself down, and it'll go inside. It will bang the cup head a little bit, but that gets the big chunks out of that section. Oh, that was my elbow sliding off the table. This side, I run it in as long as it's bigger than a 1/2 inch. Anything smaller than a 1/2 inch, it won't work because it's too big a diameter. But I knock the big crud off with this. And if it's really big, I also use the little wire discs because they'll get in there. They work all the way down in there too. But for the detailed stuff, these silly little things. Some of the guys, well, Some of the guys will put shrink on it up into to this to keep these tight, to keep them from falling apart. And they use it to hit the details. Let me see if I got one. See if I can get one that doesn't cause an avalanche. I've been cleaning a lot of stuff lately. So, like when you have all these little tiny stampings, these are good to get in and get all the junk and gunk that's caked up in there over the years. So for the most part, on the wire wheel side for Dremel, I buy the cheap ones. That's why I have a million pieces of wire stuck in me and everything else. These would be the three pieces that I primarily use. Fling wire all over the place, but they work. I paid like $55. I got a 300-piece kit. So it kind of filled up the box pretty good. And every now and then they cone up because of the rotational speed, and then it hitting, it just twists. And that's where I said I kind of splay them back out as I just go in, kind of force them apart, make a mess out of it. Like this one that needs to be done. I have this rack assembly. There's a total of 3 of them that are fully loaded with Dremel stuff. So for the most part with that, I got a little bit of everything. Depends on what I need, what I see, what I think would be the best way to attack it. Different projects, different metals, they all want different they all have different needs. I kind of fly by the seat of my pants when I hit on the big 8-inch wire wheel. Then I see how it's cleaning up, depending upon whether I need to hit the fiber wheels or like one I just recently did. Actually, I think it was my video from this morning where I ended up over at the 1x30. So I had to clean it up on the 1x30, and then I could process from there. It's just throughout the course of time and processing, cleaning tools and everything, you kind of get a feel for what you need, what you don't need. Depending upon what I'm working on, I'll just grab these. I keep a bunch of the stuff just thrown out here so I can just grab and go. I'm gonna put these on hold because this is Bigfoot, therefore I got to pay attention to what I'm doing for these, especially with the fact that I could probably just take these with my thumb and flatten them out. So let's come over here. And yes, that's a 27-gallon HDX tote. And it's full of stuff out of that toolbox. Now, I don't want to fight with that one. That one's going to have to get soaked. Well, here. Oh. It's a big chunk of rust. We'll grab this one. We'll start with this one. You know what? I saw another one I want to grab too. There we go. we'll work on that one. Yeah, it's little brother. Of course, not paying attention to time. I did not set the stand up. Oh, wait. We gotta. We'll see. Sort of, kind of, maybe ish. That is what came out of that little snap-on box I'm still working on. And quite a few of them are big boys. This one, that's Williams, 1 and 7/16. Then his little brother is 1 1/8. Let's see if this Craftsman double MV, see if there's anything left. It's probably going to blow half the chrome off it. Yeah, I think I might surprise myself with this one. It's not flaking as bad as I expected. I really expected it to be a lot worse than this. Well, I think this Craftsman is going to turn around and live for many more decades. Getting better. Like I said, it's not the chrome and the crud that's on it. It's not flaking off and exploding like I thought it was. So this is going to be very, very cool. Because I don't find too many Craftsmen above 1 inch. To be honest, 15/16 is usually as high as I see them out in the wild. Definitely getting better. But there's a reason, if anybody's ever noticed any of my videos, sorry, you never see me go, you rarely see me go perpendicular and edge on. Usually what you see me do, get my big hands out of the way, is I'm off angle. Both sides, off angle. And the reason for that is because the fact that it is wire, if you hit the sides of it, you're pushing the wire outbound. You're pushing it and kind of forcing it to work on the edge of the wire. If you actually are hitting it edge on, if you have a softer material, you will find that it will actually dig holes, and you'll have a whole bunch of little tiny micro dents straight on into softer materials. Funny thing is, I think this week, I think Scout Crafter was talking about that when he was playing with a piece of aluminum. Is what he doesn't go it straight onto it because you'll see it tear up and leave marks in the softer metal. But if you go off axis to it, you're actually curling the wire over. You're really hitting the edge of it. Creates a smoother transition. The wheel needs changing because it's definitely not the 8 inches that it originally started. And the closer you get to the disc where they've pinched the wires in, the more it wants to grab and jump. So the smaller the wheel, the bigger a pain in the butt it is. But I'm not putting a new wheel on until it's basically ripping this thing out of my hands. Okay, back to the other side. Woo. Oh no, you can do them almost any way you want. It's just kind of. Are you talking about with the wire wheel, or just overall? Because overall, there's 18.6 trillion ways you can work on and clean tools. I just found many moons ago with a wire wheel because I was messing with something soft back when I was probably junior high. Uh, I think it was back when I was in either elementary school going into junior high. It was whatever it was when I was in Weeblos. And I took a piece of metal and I was trying to clean all the oxidation and crud on it. And I was basically, trying to work the flat spot of the wire wheel. And I got it all cleaned off. And when I flipped it around so I could see it, it had a million little dig marks in it. That's when my dad and my grandfather looked at it and they told me, say, work on an angle. So when I get a brand new, I'm not digging one out. When I get a brand new wire wheel that's flat, the first thing I do is I hit one edge, and so I don't know the orientation. This might actually be inverted in 180 out. So if I'm facing the wire wheel and I'm working, the main aggressive pulls I send to the left, and it creates hard to explain. It's kind of a wedge. I wish I had a dry erase board. If I had a dry erase board, I can actually draw it up and explain the quirky nuances with it. Trying to see what I got around here that might sort of kind of explain it. So if the wire wheel, here we go. So if the wire wheel, this is, and you're facing the wire wheel, I do the aggressive push this way. So as I'm pushing this way, I create a sharper, as it's wearing the wheel, it creates a sharper edge on the wheel itself. So pushing across this way, I'm making a very much sharper edge on it. Now, this side, of course, I've got a horrible piece of junk wood, has a softer angle. This is the side that's actually closer to the motor. This is the side that is closer to the outside nut that locks it in. And this is the shape that is no longer flat. This is the shape that my wire wheels take form of. This side is my aggressive side. It's the side that I primarily am knocking the big chunks off. But when I see little tiny nuances, like where I had a couple dark spots, which I knew was caves, dips, pits, that's when I took it the other direction and went into the shallow angle, and it seems to treat it softer. It's not as, doesn't grab and dig in, which is what allows where I have, well, this is where pitting is. Oops, sorry. That's pitting. The dark spots here is the pitting, but it will clean it, but it doesn't always on the harsh angle, or sorry, the long angle. It gets the primary junk off, but when I go on that short angle, it goes in and gets a little tiny piece of debris out. So far, that old rusty Craftsman is starting to look better. But yeah, mine definitely is weird. I got a long angle and a short angle on my wire wheel because of the way I push against the sides of it. Probably eats up the wire wheel faster because I'm pushing on the sides and the angles. But I like the way it works. It does great for me. That's just the way I'm going to do it. And like I was saying, the little straight bit is great. Sorry, I kind of focus what I'm doing. But the little straight bit is great for getting into the stamping. I gotta untwist it a bit, but it does a really good job getting into the stamping and removing decades of crud that's built up down in the stamping. Of course, if you try to polish after you do all this, you'll fill it back up. Then you have fun getting it right back out again. And that's part of why I spread these out too, is when the wires get bunched up together, it makes them stronger, but it also makes it a little bit more aggressive. Sometimes I have put shrink or tape on them to keep them tight if I've really got to get into, well, it's a bad thing, but like the old plums, because they're pebbled and you got to get in there, especially the ones that are recessed. Anything plum and that's recessed, it'll turn around and it gets it's hard to clean up with the soft ones. So you'll tighten them up. That way you can get in there and just dig and root out stuff. Hey Don, how's it going? Uh by the way, what's the big idea of sending more snow my way? I'm looking at 60, 65 for 2 days and then 30 in snow. I know you're the one that sent it. I know you just wanted to share, right? No, I am borderline in the South, and these people down here can't drive. I don't mind driving in it because obviously I know how to deal with snow, but yeah, down here they don't. Down here, it doesn't even have to have accumulation on the ground. All it has to be is close to freezing, and either you're going to get a 2-hour delay or they're closing school. It's just got to have cold. 1 inch of accumulation, and basically this whole place locks up and gets dumb. I remember walking to school in 8-10 inches of snow. Of course, used to get in trouble because we had snowball fights on the way to school, so we always showed up to school wet and covered in snow when we tried to walk through the front door. Of course, we also got ourselves in trouble on the way home too, just a little bit. So coming into you guys Sunday and pushing down to further south Monday. But I haven't looked in a couple days, so who knows? It might not be Monday. It might be Sunday where it's our crud's coming in. So, yeah, for the most part, all the decades of gunk down in that stamping's gone. I'll do a light over on the. Oh my gosh, could you imagine all the snowball fights? How many parents would lose their minds today they'd probably call the cops. They'd probably sue somebody else's parents. Uh, they would lose their daggone minds. I mean, right now, kids that should be kicked off a school bus don't get kicked off a school bus when they should be kicked off. They probably don't even give many kids in school ISS or OSS because of the parents. So we're going to try to get some of that. I don't like that. Got to make it look a little better. But when you got this many years of rust on it, it's not easy to get out. Oh, whoop, whoop, whoop. There it is. Yeah, it's about what we had. Shop's 55. I'm good with that. Sorry, my squirrels ran away and I wasn't paying attention where my task at hand. I had people down here complaining about the weather, the temperatures, and the fact that we had got little snow here and there. Whew. I've been threatened that I need to walk through a magnetic field to try to find, or a metal detector. Daggone it, I felt another one. I brought too many wire bits in the house. I've had to pull a couple out of her foot. I understand the reason, because with the granddaughter crawling and running around, yeah, we don't need her getting one of these stuck in her hand or in her foot. But yeah, I know in the middle of the night I've gotten up to go get a drink or something, and I turn around and all of a sudden it hit my foot, and I'm like, yep, not good. Either that or they got to find besides wearing the suit of armor, got to find a way, some kind of clothing that it won't puncture and stick into. But there's the thin one. Now I'm running down into the trying to get down into the channel where the big cut brush will not reach. This poor thing was allowed to sit in water for so long that I have a bunch of micro pitting inside here. Now I'm just bouncing back and forth across the high point. Try to knock any debris off that didn't catch. Just going straight down the trough. So I said, not perfect, but definitely better than it was. It's not rusty. Very much usable again. You know what? We're going to see whether my new little one I acquired today. I already know that it has good RPMs, but it has low torque. And with the low torque, when you get down in here and you got to put some attitude onto it to try to get the rust out, it does not do good at all. But I figure for the little plastic wheels, you don't put a lot of pressure and load on them. But this little one, probably for like fine work and engraving and stuff like that, this one will probably, we'll see if it does good or bad. I just thought it'd be a lot easier to use this than that. And when I tested it earlier, it just kind of, it doesn't take much to load it out. Sounds like a bee. Sounds like an angry bee flying around in here. But I'll tell you what, it's perfect for this. Well, it is not a waste of money. I thought it was going to be a waste of money when I got home and found out that it doesn't have a lot of torque. But for the using this and the light finesse work, this thing's perfect. Oh yeah, that works really good for the finesse work. So we'll have to retract my statement off my video that comes out next week when I kind of tested it, uh, where I had the wire cut brush. I had that on it and just playing with the socket, trying to get down into just working the thick part of the wall. It was, I actually overloaded and tripped it with too much torque. It actually shut itself off. So it's not for digging and rooting, but it really did good on the finesse work. I like that. Ah, only problem I do not have enough sockets here. That one's charged. So for once, when this one dies, I'm covered. Okay. I'm sure I'm way behind this stuff. Me too. Sorry. I trim buffing wheels up, and those fiber wheels that I have on the variable speed one. I'll take a razor blade and I'll slide it back and forth when it's running, flatten it out because they're fiber wheels. And when you're working irregular shapes, it will cause waves in it, which makes it very, very difficult as you're trying to work on an actual flat piece. So I use a blade to try to flatten it back out. Oh. Sorry. I just saw the comment on Chewy. With our hounds, they got to have it, especially all the toys they go through. Mm-hmm. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, okay, we're back into the snow. Yep, I already talked about that. Just my luck. This is not Ferris. If I got a magnetic shirt, this would probably not be Ferris, and all this stuff would still be a problem child. You know, the funny thing about it, it's not Ferris, but that is. So, magnetic shirt wouldn't work. This is coming soon. Give you a sneak peek. So, Fern, the people that a couple months ago asked me to check out their little flashlight that I use quite often, asked me if I wanted to check out a product that they haven't released yet. I was like, yep. So it might be released by now, but it's their ST2. Angled head. Everything's pretty solid. The switch is a little soft. I won't shine it at the camera. So, well, I can. Ultraviolet, white, and red. Little got some good weight to it, but I've actually been happy with their products. So that I think is coming somewhere next week. I've got to finish the putting the video together, get it out to them, and all that jazz before I release it to the whole everybody. What do I use to prevent surface rust? A little bit of everything. Depends on the metals, depends on the material. Some metals, it takes a lot to cause them to rust. So like these might rust relatively quick because of the metals, but like this old Barkalow Buffalo, this thing's probably every bit of 50 plus years old. All it had was grime on it. No rust, just grime. But I've used Surface Shield on stuff I know that will rust quickly. Like some of the really old wrenches, this stuff is kind of a mess because it comes out in a yellow gooey foam. I'll spray it on, let it sit on something I know that I'm probably never going to use, something, a wrench that's 80, 90 years old. Let it sit on there for a few minutes, come back, take a clean rag, rub it down, clear it. If it's a wrench that, or a tool that I'm going to use, because I don't mind using 60, 70, 80-year-old tools. If it's one that I know is fairly common, then I just put a little 3-in-1 oil. Put a little bit on the tool, rub it in, let it sit for a minute or two, then do a light wipe off. And for the most part, it keeps it from rusting. I know some people use WD-40, which I got plenty. I get it by the metal gallon jar. So it's kind of what I've learned over time is working on the metal, seeing what it is, knowing what tools and what metals are going to react at how fast they rust. I have a very old tappet wrench that I forgot to wipe something on it, whether it's just spray WD on the rag, give it a good wipe down. I was in a hurry, in a rush, threw it in the drawer. A month later, it had an ultra thin coat of rust all the way around it. So I'm going to have to re-clean that one. That wasn't my fault. I'll admit, I screw up, I make mistakes, but that's how I learn. Oh yeah. No company is exempt from rust. Well, I wish I had the other one, but yeah. There you go. No company is exempt from rust. Doesn't matter. Metal's metal. I just did a short recently. Might have been the one from this morning, where the entire inside of this one was rust. The entire inside of that one was rust. And when I did the post on the short, it looked dark and dirty, but that's just shadowing. But this is what the inside looked like. But that was completely clogged with rust. If you went like that, your entire hand was covered. And that is Snap-on. So it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter whether it's an old Kmart wrench or even Snap-on. All metal is susceptible to rust. Because if the material is not native to rust, it can attract and hold rust. It's just the nature of materials. What I do is I have down here, I have a CO2 detector literally right here. And that has temperature and it has humidity. That way I can monitor the humidity out here. And it was up around 60% humidity when my that one old wrench of mine got surface rust on it. Plus, with me in here working, and then I do warm up the room up into the 50s, and then I go inside, it drops down close to freezing. That's going to cause condensation problems throughout the entire shop. So that could lead to rusting also. Desiccant packs. I'm trying to be careful because I know you got to be careful with what you say before the algorithm takes a chomp out of you. And I think that's why the last 2 weeks for me has been not so good, is because of what I talked about when I was cleaning. And the other item that is back in its container, because it was right after that video. It's either the video or live that I was using it and talking about it, what I did to make to clean the inside of a wrench. All of a sudden, all my stuff dropped down to about 40% of what I normally get. So I now have to be careful with the wording, but desiccant packs that you put in cases or in big metal containers, that would be good to keep around toolboxes. I know a lot of mechanics clean motor oil is really no different than this. It just has some other detergents in it and the viscosity is different. That's about it. Oil's oil for the most part. I wouldn't use dirty oil because you don't know what contaminants are in there and what chemical it is. Because don't forget, you get contaminated oil, especially if you got a leak, you got a gasket leak, you could have water introduced into it. You could, and I know they say water and oil doesn't mix, but it kind of does a little because it can trap and hold it. Or you can have antifreeze that got its way up into the oil. And antifreeze, being by nature, especially if it's older type antifreeze, that'll eat your metal. That'll do a lot of damage because it's designed for certain materials, but it will damage a lot of other metals. I've actually I had some very brand new but very old bottles, little quart bottles of oil, and I used to use that on other things, outdoor equipment that I didn't want to rust. Just put a thin coat on it. Oil's oil. Very nice. It's so old that I'm sure the detergents had broke down, so I would not put it even in a lawnmower. But I wasn't going to throw a perfectly good bottle away, knowing I could use it for other purposes. I had another container. I made a fire concoction. You just get a little we call it fire starter. So you take a small container, put some oil in it, put some little kerosene in it, little diesel in it, little gas in it, and a couple other little chemicals that you, or if you know how they interact with each other, mix it up good. And especially if you have soaking wet wood after it rained, you just dribble it all over the wood in your fire pit, light it up. It'll get hot enough, quick enough. You'll hear the wood sizzle and heat and push the moisture out of the wood, and your fire will start. Probably not the approved method, but it does work. It's those things that when you don't have great yep, squirrels went that way. When the variables are against you and you want a fire, there's always ways to make a fire in a fire pit start. Oh, anybody in our niche? We love the old Protos. As a matter of fact, I got a ton of them. This one was completely rusted out. This one was wall-to-wall rust, inside and out. And all I did was hit this with a wire wheel in the Dremel. And then I put some 3-in-1 oil on it, let it sit, let it sit here. I was watching some other videos, doing some other stuff, came back, wiped it down, and that's what she looks like now. But she was completely rusted out. I mean, when I picked it up, I had no idea it was a Proto till I actually cleaned it. And anybody that's seen my one video, they know all about that big monster. If they've seen that video, because they know this one was caked with rust all the way in the inside. And that too, it's a 1-inch Proto Professional, 1-inch drive, 1-inch 8-point. I think it depends on the wrench. If it's a wrench that I know I may never find again, if it's a wrench that I know I may never ever find again, it'll be a shelf queen or a drawer queen. And that's when I'll, instead of oiling it, I'll throw some tray wax on it. But of course, with the temperature being what it is, the wax is hard as a brick. This stuff likes really warm weather. And when it gets warm, that goes on smooth. That's when I'll put wax on it when I know it's a wrench I'm not gonna take out. I'm not gonna use on something. But I pulled bitten braces out to use on projects. I've took my grandfather, and I was very careful. I took my grandfather's egg beater drill and used it. Sometimes it's just more fun going old school and using old tools. I've even gone after some of the early 1900s, no name, no size markings, played the guessing game until I found one and just used the old tools on a whole project instead of, grabbing today's stuff or hooking up the air hose and going pneumatic with stuff. Oh, well, we most all of us like Waldens. I don't have handy because I think I've already cleaned them up and sent them that way. But I had a handful of Walden sockets, and I just found a S. Uh, I found a S. I found a few sockets that are SW in an oval, and I think that was Stevens Walden's towards the end of the company before it dissolved into the ether. But I have some that say Walden. I have some that say Stevens Walden. I have a box, a little tin box, probably about, well, let me grab it. It looks like 90 miles of bad road. I don't like it. I'm not happy with it. I've been fighting with it. I've been playing games with paint. Just wanted to give it a different color, but the paint wasn't playing well with me. So primer on this side because I was getting ready to. It's just I haven't done a soft sand on it, but I was just going to give it a different color. So we got a Stevens Walden, but I didn't like the way this come out. I'm gonna blow all this paint right off. But what's different about this one is you see the hinge. It opens from the side versus your typical open. So I'm gonna tear this all out, give it a light primer. I'm not doing anything. It was hammered, it was battered, it wouldn't close. It was a train wreck. It still has some dents and dings, but it opens and closes no problem. The detents click in like they're supposed to. Just not doing too well with the paint. I even tried I found an engine paint, but I think it was just too cold out here in the shop. I couldn't get the temperature right. Kind of a metallic bronze engine paint, but it didn't lay on. Well, this wrench is trashed. The chrome's gone. Heavy pitting. I mean, there's big chunks missing out of it from the pitting. So I was just playing with this as a possible idea for that Stevens Walden and just make it explode because it's an engine paint, so it's going to be thin and it'll hold on to the metal better. But I don't know if you can see the back. That's actually the good piece. All that aggressive pitting. What was on this side, I actually had to hit and cut and dig into the metal really bad. So now it's my guinea pig for paint. I got a few metal boxes. 1, 2, 3. Probably about 20. So I think I still just only have a couple because I know there's guys out there that have way more than that. And of course, they do a better job painting than I do. Okay, let's see where we at. Oh, a complete Walden set. That's awesome. Now, oops. Is it open pawled like that? Where the pawls are wide open? Because those are because I know a lot of these that are open pawled, you can't take them out. Can't take them apart. But you can kind of work around all of it and tidy it up and get it working right again. Oh. Oh, hang on. Let me see what. Oh, finally realized that Resto Rob responded. Well, sneak peek part 2, since you saw that. I got 14 items. Well, actually, you saw more than that because those little, that is one of the 14 items I snagged today. But I found this original blue. But here's the best part. It is a Stanley Handyman, and the sticker is still intact. I want to carefully work the metal, but I got to protect the paint and the sticker. 14 items, cost me 15 plus tax. That's it. So I've got a bunch of bit braces, Miller's Falls, Stanley, standard ones, but that's the only one that's out of the Handyman lineup. Well, let's go see what I got over there. This is my new little one that I can't wait to tidy up. I think I'm going to use mahogany flame on this. I only got a couple of the big boy wrenches. So wood handles, I don't have but a couple. I got some twisties, got some little bike wrenches. Diamond needs to be tidied up, but it needs the correct grub screw. And instead of sending me the correct grub screw, somebody sent me the entire wrench. Then I did a little cleaning, a little tweaking and tuning. I had to make it shiny. This is the next diamond that I'm going to work on. And I'll probably clean this one up too, so that way I can have them all nice. Just an aluminum, but I don't have too many. These are just F wrenches. Got a little one. But for the most part, these are pipe wrenches, not true monkey wrenches. Very few of what I have is a true monkey wrench, but I know I've tidied up a couple of these. Nope. Oh, that's probably the biggest wood handle one I got, which isn't that big. Not at all. Then here's one I cleaned up, but all I did is clean the wood and sealed the wood. Yeah, I can't open this, but the top unscrews and all the bits are inside. Now, traditional pipe wrenches, I've got decent ones. I've got some bigger ones in that box that I still have to work on. I think I have up to 16, 18 inches. Maybe there might be a 24-inch in that silly thing. I just haven't gotten down into the bottom of it to root it out. Nah, it's a little 14, but I swear I had a big monster pipe wrench. But yeah, monkey wrenches with the smooth jaws. I don't have too many of them. Oh, oop, make sure I don't hit the phone or turn it off. Oh, let's see. Nope, this is the Aegis, is Geek Vape's Aegis Legend. It's the only one that survives my abuse. Every other manufacturer in the last 10 years has failed me. I run one of these over with a bucket truck, and it creased it a little bit, pinned the batteries in, but I took wire and jumped it, and it still turned on. Oh. I still got a lot, as you saw on the old auto F wrenches between the 6 and the 9-inch ones. I got a mountain of them that are still covered in rust. I got an auction lot for one wrench, and those were all hiding in the bottom. And those are on my backlog of the backlog of the backlog of the backlog. Someday I'll get done. Oh. I chased the auction for 3 weeks just to have that to get that wood handle screwdriver, and I was hoping it had some of the bits in it, and it had actually all the bits inside. I don't know. I think wood handle versus acetate versus, well, the one I versus this, and I found this on the road and just cleaned it up the other day. So I found that, and this Cobalt 8-inch adjustable. Got them cleaned up and ready to go again. Oh, sorry. I have a large bicycle wrench. I dismantled, cleaned it up, blued it. Runs ultra smooth. Probably can't see it. Oh, yeah, you can. Still has all the graduated lines in the inside. From what I understand, this is a Billing Spencer, but it has a Pierce Arrow from Pierce Arrow Motor Company. When they stopped doing cars, they went over to bicycles, and that happens to be one of them. Or however they went. Oh, that's awesome. Clean them up, protect them. There's just something about old tools, especially when they're pass downs. I have a bunch of tools that are passed downs, but my grandfather was an RCA service technician, and that's his technician box back when they had vacuum tubes in the radios and TVs. That's his oscilloscope that he built. I have screwdrivers. nut drivers, wrenches, and all sorts of stuff. But there's just something about being second, third, fourth, or fifth generation of a tool. I don't know. It's just my silly ways, I guess. It's just kind of exciting. Mechanics lose a lot of tools, and so do contractors. And I'm not playing on I'm not jumping on a train either. But uh-oh. More. Dude, I have found, I'm guessing, somewhere between 40 and 50 tools, probably in the last 10 years, I've found on the road. I found a 3-pound mallet on the side of the road, cracked handle, popped it, put a new handle in, wedged it, cleaned the metal up, oiled it down, and that thing's, it's a tank. I found, actually, I got a brand new, I'm going to call it brand new because I found it brand new on the road at an intersection, a Craftsman claw hammer. The only damage it had was when it fell out of wherever and bounced. The head was still smooth as glass. It never hit a nail. There was not a one scratch or one dent in it when I found it. I found gear wrench stuff, snap-on, cobalt. Oh, shit. I have a cobalt socket set. Actually, hang on. Oh, what did I do with the stupid thing? Because I put stuff everywhere. So I was out riding around. I did not clean the outside of the box up much because I didn't need it. I didn't need to clean it up, I should say. But I found this out on the road, caked in mud. I'm assuming it was some kind of a plumber or something because it was just caked with mud and gunk. Out on the road, complete set. Everything inside was completely muddy, rusty, like it was sitting on the back of a pickup truck or something like that, and it fell out. So I took time. I went through the entire set. I know it's not quality cobalt. It's I think this series was made in Taiwan, but I figure for a grab and go, I'll stop, I'll pick it up, I'll take the time to clean it up. That's a great one to throw in the back of my pickup truck if I need to go help somebody in bad weather, because if it gets wet, who cares? I can tear it apart, clean them. I found a brand new spark plug socket, literally brand new, that was 80 feet on the road behind O'Reilly's. It was only about 80 feet away from the building in the middle of the road. So apparently somebody got it. They may have used it, left it under the hood. When they came bouncing out of the parking lot, it tumbled out. We were going through the backside of the service road, and all of a sudden I pulled right on over. I jumped out, so I'll be back in a minute, ran out there, grabbed it. My son-in-law's stepdaughter was like, "What was that for?" My wife's like, "He probably found another damn tool." And I was like, "Exactly, brand new." Vacuum tube stuff, as long as it's clean. That's the one thing about vacuum tube equipment. You cannot let dust sit on them, especially if a lot of dust starts to build up. They got to carefully be cleaned, because if the dust sits on it, as hot as vacuum tubes get, it could actually end up causing the tube to go out. You can still get replacement tubes for quite a few things, but unfortunately, you don't pay through the nose. I up in the box, I'm not pulling that down. I still have quite a few vacuum tubes up there. Uh, but as a hyperactive kid, that was about the only thing I could do in my life where I wasn't running around like a madman or uh, drive everybody nuts being hyperactive. Is I could sit and watch my grandfather and learn how to deal with electronics. I could sit there for hours watching him fix radios and TVs. I only need these for here to here. Everything else, oh no, I see what doesn't belong. I don't have that many hammers, but yeah, I'm probably not that far behind. I probably have 30 or so. The best site, uh, actually, it's just keeping your eyes peeled at yard sales. Well, yard sales, garage sales, rummage sales, depending upon what you call them in your neck of the woods. Estate sales. Hopefully, it's not estate sales where the estate sale company thinks that they can look stuff up on eBay and then try to command the eBay wish sell price. Uh, but auctions are auctions are where I chase tools, because you get a cardboard flat. You just depending upon your pictures, if you can spot, I mean, everybody recognizes it doesn't have to be a clear picture, but most people can recognize the raised panel for a craftsman, and they don't have to see a clear marking of it, but they can see the lettering just loosely. It can be blurry as can be, but you know it's a craftsman wrench. Um, so with that, uh, oh, hang on, I just lost my. Yep, my squirrel went that way now. So auctions, estate sales, in-person estate sales, I found are better than auction estate sales, because a lot of auction estate sales, they play this dirty game towards the end. Is when the clock runs out, when there's 3 minutes left. If anybody places a bid with 3 minutes left, they'll add time to it. It is, say, if you're bidding $10, but you put a high bid of $20, if somebody bids, it'll go up. The time will increase. Your bid that'll outbid them will go up. It'll reset that 3 minute clock, then 3 minute clock, and 3 minute clock. And what it does, they try to produce a bidding war to increase the price. Therefore, your 15, 18%, whatever it is in your area, that's more revenue for them. So I'm not a big fan of some of the auction places that play that game. You run a time, once that clock ends, you need to end it. Let the gavel come down. Let's get back to where I got lost. Fell off his truck. Oh, a lot of people lost stuff on the back of their truck, and I found it because I got them here. Oh, very cool. Now, speaker side, clean those contacts, clean the wiring randomly, because even uh, even on a solder joint on the back of the contacts on the back of a speaker, if uh, dust builds up too much on it or any kind of gunk builds up on it, is your VD, your line level voltage that comes through that, does its thing, and it causes the push pull on the speaker. It can actually cause crackle. Being as old as that is, since it's got vacuum tubes, that means you've got paper speaker, paper cone, and it doesn't take much to and the glue that holds it all together is aged. So the spike that occurs from any kind of a static or crackle could actually tear or separate the cone. I've had to carefully go in and clean contacts and the where it connects in. I usually go on both sides and randomly pull it. I have some paper and paper cone speakers that, well, no, I set them up in the attic because I don't need them out here anymore. I had 4 big old late 60s speakers. Actually, I think they're 28 inches tall. I think they're like 12 inches wide. 2 speakers in it. I used to have them sitting out here to play music until I retired my Bose AM10 speakers from the house. Well, my Bose speakers came out here into the shop. I got a big Onkyo receiver on the other side of the shop. Still old school. Big. No, wait. No, Onkyo's downstairs. I got a big Pioneer VSX, I think 802. So still got the big knobs on them. My neighbors, a couple acres away, in the summertime, I got great neighbors. They like my eclectic, weird genre bouncing, but they hear the music. Collect sports cards. Used to. When I was a kid, all the way up to probably 98, I had at one point in time probably about 130 to 140,000 sports and non-sports cards. So I still had some of my old Star Wars, Empire's Return of the Jedi, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I even had at one time I had a couple Elvis cards. I had some Chips cards. I think I had one of the stickers, Charlie's Angels. I had a little bit of everything because that's what I was collecting back then. Don't know where half of them are now. God, if I got back into collecting cards, then I'd have to sell all this because cards today are stupid in price. I've stumbled into on YouTube a couple of people that buy and sell cards and then they open boxes or open packs. They do videos of doing that, and then they were talking at what the cost of a box of cards is. And you're lucky if you get between 3 and 12 packs with only a few 5 to 8 cards. I remember You used to get a box of cards, you had 36 packs and you had 12 to 18 cards per pack. And, I thought $20 for a box of cards was crazy. Oh no, these guys are spending $500 to $1,000 for a box of cards that may have 6 to 20 cards total in the box. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. I'm glad I got away from that. Jeez. 25 years ago? Jeez, nope. Close to 30 years now. Oh. I used to have tools that magically disappeared. Now nobody's allowed to be around my tools. That was just the easy way to end that. No, you're not bragging, dude. No, we all share what we have or collect. I would say 99% of the people in our group, it ain't bragging. Because some people have better luck finding things or acquiring things. I'm not, I don't have luck with some companies, but other companies are great. All right, Dave, be safe. Have a good weekend. We got one of our guys. He was on the live last week. He finds estate sales and gets stuff at insanely good prices, and he comes out with quality tools every single time. And we're not talking, we're not talking a double line B. He brings home Circle H BEs, the true amber handles, snap on up the wazoo. Yeah, he is insane. He's insane with his luck at finding stuff and getting prices on it. Yeah, that would be the old Yagi antenna. It'd be an old Yagi antenna that was used for AM, FM, VHF, and UHF. And if you had money, then you had the actual mechanical rotor box. So you'd have it in the house, and then you would change, north, east, south, west. I'm sure this is going inverted on your screen. But you would dial in, you had to know your AM, your FM, your VHF, your UHF channels. You had to know when you tried to dial it in, you had to know where to rotate that mast antenna to line up to where it would pick the signal up better. I'll tell you what, when I was a kid, we had a very nice mast antenna, obviously, since my grandfather was an RCA technician. And it was awesome. My little black and white TV as a kid, man, I could dial in almost any channel. And when I come racing home to watch cartoons, I wasn't the gentlest on the mechanical TVs. Instead of going click, 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 no, I would grab upside down and wham! I would ratchet that bad boy around. Shortwave AM FM, nice. That's the one with the world bands on it. Very nice. I haven't seen one of those. Good grief. It's got to be close to 35 years since I actually seen one. Oh, let's see. This is a Aegis Legend. That's a dead rabbit. I got the dead rabbit through Mate Box, I think it was, back when they were still around. I used to get all sorts of stuff in the mail. Oops, sorry. I didn't mean to knock that one around. I got so many projects going on over here. I got two that I abandoned out here in the shop. There's my old Legend that I was just going to keep for in the shop. This thing's Gen 1 Aegis Legend. And that's just got a Genji on top. But it's been sitting out here just collecting dust and dirt. Got a smoke with some kind of a RTA on it. I stole the chuff cap out of that and put it on this because while I was at work, the chuff cap that I had on the dead rabbit, I knocked it out apparently while I was up in 30 feet in the air, and it disappeared. I never could find it again. I got a bunch of now. If we're going somewhere fancy, and I actually got to dress up besides jeans and a button-up shirt, if I got to really get fancy, one of the I got a gold mod with a gold RDTA. Oh, it looks all fancy. That's where you wear a gold watch. You pull out the gold vape. It's been collecting dust in there too. Oh, very nice. Like I said, keep the dust out of it because you don't want dust on the any kind of a rheostat or anything like that, because the dust on that, and if you make any subtle adjustments, the crackle of that, and you hear it when you go to adjust something, you hear the crackle in those speakers. You could damage the speakers, or it'll cause a pulse in that voltage. I think CRC makes contact cleaner. That's, if I remember right, it's in a, I can't remember if it's in the green or the red can. That's what my grandfather used when I was younger. Hey, those capacitors are still out there. You just gotta find somebody that actually still has that collection. I had access to a auction and I had to walk away from it to I had to walk away from it because we ended up with plans the weekend that I would have had to drive out and collect stuff. But it had, I think I had 32 or 33 lots in my watch list. That was all vacuum tubes because I was going to, if they were cheap enough, I was going to try to get as many of those as I could. And I was going to load my grandfather's RCA service box up with the vacuum tubes. But you know how that goes. Something gets planned out and you're looking at the dates, and because the auction went for 21 days. And then I calculated it and realized not only did I have plans, but we had something else going on the night before. And I was like, damn. So I had to walk away from all them. I have, or I will have, my dad's Sansui receiver, and that is right at the twist of vacuum tubes over into transistors. So it's kind of a hybrid of both. And yeah, turned it on. It powers up faster than true vacuum tubes, but it powers up, and yeah, you can watch lights as everything starts to light up and glow again. I had a home stereo, and that's all it was, home stereo. So it's just right and left amplifier. I toted that thing around for almost 20 some years, and it was all vacuum tubes. Uh, Still insane, but I had moving place to place to place. I got tired of hauling it around, so I got rid of it. Um, Home theater, Macintosh amplifiers. Macintosh, last I knew, of course, I haven't looked in probably 10, 15 years. Macintosh house amplifiers for home theater systems, I mean, big home theater systems, they're still vacuum tube driven because they produce a pure sine wave, unlike digital that has clipped sine waves. I mean, it's still a sine wave, but the top portion is clipped. It goes up, clips, comes down, clips. That's what a digital sine wave is, where the analog vacuum tubes had that beautiful full spectrum. And I think that is why old radios, turntables, tape decks sound so much better than CDs or digital music. Yeah, the song's there, the music's there, but the feel is long gone. It is way long gone. Ooh, hiccups. So with this, probably bag this one. Yeah, I'll use this one. Because it's just Craftsman. I mean, it's double MB, but it's still just Craftsman. And because of the metals that they use, and the fact that this is going into the user pile. This is not going into the collection side of the drawers. This will get dropped right into the user pile. That's where we're just going to throw some WD-40 on it. Let it sit. Let it sit for about half hour or so. Maybe tomorrow. Give it a little wipe down. Call it good. It'll last. It'll survive. But since I didn't think, which I do quite often, I don't think I just do things. Get one of these citrus wipes. Try to clean the WD off my hands. Smells like oranges now. I need some of my candies. Oh, very cool. Mm-hmm. I was thinking, I got a bunch of Thorson, but I'm not sure whether I have enough quite yet to build a set yet, but that was the purpose of buying that 7-drawer. I realized that I was going to have a tote of tools, and 3/4 of this was nothing but Snap-on and Proto sockets. So I got to find me. I've already got a line on another toolbox to add to all the other toolboxes. And this is going to be an old. It's only going to be like 30, 32 inch wide, top and bottom, and that's going to be the one I use for all the old tools. Have a good night. Be safe. Ouch. Wire stuck in me. Oh. So hopefully I can get enough drawers so I can start separating the Bonnies, the Billings, Thorson, USA Huskies, her brand. I got quite a few of those. Mustang. Oh, good grief. I got to have at least 35, 40 different manufacturers that over the years, I've acquired bits and pieces of. New Britain. Ooh, there's a wire stuck in my chair. Thorson never let me down. That's why when I'm usually finding the small 1/4 and 3/8, but I get happy when I see Thorson's name because I know that take it home. Now you're talking about Zepp's degreaser. I know Zepp's got a million products out there. I didn't know about Mustang until last year. One of the small toolboxes I picked up, had a handful of them. Oh, actually, I know what it was. It was last year when I got that massive that tool haul that I got a tabletop full of Snap-on stuff, basically for pennies. There was a bunch of Mustang in there. I'm still playing with an assortment of stuff. Make sure I'm still got a green light. Hey, I finally paid attention to see if I still had a hot mic. I'm still playing with an assortment of products. I use a 50/50 of Simple Green and water. And then I put stuff in the Ziploc bag in the Ziploc bag, because what I do is I put water as the base, and then I put stuff in a Ziploc bag with the chemical. Yeah, I get little pinholes. It does weep a little, but it keeps me from having getting gunked up fluids in the ultrasonic cleaner, because I got a 22-liter one, and my outlet port, I got vinyl hose from there that goes down, hits a Harbor Freight 5-gallon bucket where I drilled a hole, put a connector, put the hose in. Then I drilled a hole, put a silicone bushing in as a breather hole. So if I need to lower the water level, because I'm putting a lot of bags of heavy tools in there, I can drain out what I need to keep the water level at the optimum level. Then I can bring it back from that back in when I take the stuff out. I guess you can say I'm very frugal with chemicals that way, but then I waste it everywhere else. Anybody's watched me with my brake clean, I'll burn a can up in a heartbeat. I've got a 2-liter pitcher of simple green water that I was using to clean the toolbox and just wasted it right there. Uh, there's just something about it, and it drives me nuts. There's guys I watch, and they go to lift the lid on their ultrasonic cleaner, and it looks like the Mississippi River. And they just throw tools in it. I'm sitting there going, why? You can't see it. You can't see to the bottom of it. How do you know it's still doing its job? But at the same time, I pour the tools and all that into a plastic tray, pull the tools out, rinse them, all that jazz. But then I take the residual, and before I put them in big, larger mason jars to reuse, and I put paint strainers into it, and then carefully pour it back into the paint strainer so it collects the debris and does a light filter of it, so I can keep reusing the same 50-50 mix until I can't smell, because Simple Green's got that unique smell. When that odor starts wearing down, then I dispose of that container and start over. But that's what I use to fill the bag up, drop it in the water. Well, I'm gonna move that way because I've done a whole lot of. Oh, I said, well, I was gonna leave this here, but I want to get one more thing worked on. So don't have high hopes for the next one to come out great, but it'll be back into a very functional and usable state. So that's that old rusty crusty Craftsman that I pulled out of that box. Another great user. Let's go on an adventure. Adventure in the dumpster. Because, geez, my backlog will get done some decade, and then I hope I'm back. We back or down? Okay. Whew. My little tiny hands hit the power button by accident. Oh yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Where is it? There it is. Yeah. Yep. Right there. Right there. Right there. Go green or go home. Oh, I was waiting for some comment, but I don't know if he's still in the chat. See if we can get this Little Williams going again. Now that is definitely a super wrench. But as you see, this one's going to take a lot of work because that chrome is toast. Sorry, I had to look up and make sure that my air handler was still doing its job above my head. Oh yeah. Putting a stop on that one. We gotta go a different direction now. Whoop. Whoop. Come over here. Whoa, what did I do? Trying to figure out how to do this. Okay. Oh, whoa, whoa, what am I doing? Well, need some light. So we got bad chrome. That side's going to get worked too. So are the edges. Whoa. So that's a whole lot of bad blown up chrome. But you can still see some of the spots of the chrome. But you run your finger across it, you don't feel it. Now after this, it'll go over to the fiber wheel, get a little bit more aggressive on it. And then that's the problem child. So that's one dirty way to, if you blend in the, you can blend in the flaking chrome and with the conditioning belts, then hit the fiber wheels. It'll smooth them out. Then you ain't got to worry about the chrome exploding. Not too soon. That side looks good. This side needs more work. Just need a little more there, but most of it's pretty clean. Almost. Got to get that a little bit. It's all smooth except for right in there. I got to work that more. We're good there. I have to hit that. That's kind of on the rough side. Much better. You see that grinder hit it pretty good. That side's not bad. That's just grind. That'll work for now. Got to get to that side. Won't travel through the disaster zone. Yeah, I'm not sure how I'm going to navigate this because yeah, we're going to try that. Thank you. I usually do lives on Friday night, and then I just throw sort of shorts and videos up all the time. Shop time is always good time. It's a good way to relax and unwind after a long week of work. Oop, starting to get better. No rough outer edge. The chrome that's flaking is starting to fully blend in. I'm not feeling anything now. The rest of this, missed it. Not bad. That's all that flaking blowing off chrome that don't look too bad. I just got to kind of fun part, trying to get it to, there we go. Not easy trying to get it to even up. I don't know how well that's going to work either. Not perfect, but very much usable, workable. Got to flatten it out. Hard part about working curves. Okay. Well, let me try to get the phone without wiping everything out, knocking it on the ground. Okay. Sorry about the bouncing around in the Blair Witch Project thing going. Okay. That we've already done. Not a bad cleanup. Now I got the little guy here. Let me get caught up. Oh. Oh, okay. Well, on the 1x30, I'm not 100% sure. I think that's around 180, 200 grit that I was on the belt sand, or the 1x30. On the variable speed grinder, the gray one on the left side is supposed to be like, I think, 60 or 80, which is a little aggressive. But if you work it easily, you can do it without digging into the metal too bad. Even though it'll eat through. If you're not smooth and careful with it, it will eat right through a wrench in a heartbeat. And then on the right side, that kind of a light mint green, that is supposed to be 2000 grit. And that's what I kind of use at the very end on stuff. I mean, granted, it's got a little bit of a shine to it. I mean, it's not a true mirror finish. I mean, these are old ones off my boots, but you know, yeah, I can't really. Yeah, well, it's better than I thought it was. But these off my work boots, I always have this across the in between the first eyelets. But those just got well worn with weather and everything else. And then we got, oops, sorry, a lot of fun with one that big. As you see, there's still some irregularities in the shine. But this is, I don't know if it is visible, but well, here, how about I get my, well, I don't know if I get my Grammy fingerprints off it, but that right there, that's the side that had all that blown up chip and chrome on it. So like I said, not perfect, but you know, Scott Crafter likes to play with the 3-foot rule or the 12-foot rule. Is good. So looks good from here. But this is going to be a user wrench anyways. So as long as the chrome ain't chipping off, that's the best thing, because you don't want chrome jammed up in your hands. It's not good for you, especially the chemicals that they use to do chrome plating. And the chrome that was blown up on the outer, on the edging, it's all gone. Smooth as glass all the way around. This, not bad. Not my best work, but it'll make it a very functional, very good user. But still got a lot of cleaning to do because the inside of this is a mess. Inside of that's dirty. All that's dirty. Hey, did you know it helps to plug it in if you want it to work? Minor details. Oh, very nice. I got assorted stuff from little itty bitty. I know people call them ignition wrenches, but I call them midget wrenches. I think actually I think 2 inches the biggest wrench I got. Uh, Now socket wise, I do have bigger than 2 inch. I think I have 2 3/8. I think 2 3/8 is either 2 3/8 or 2 5/8 is the biggest socket I got. But that's over in the one of the boxes. Fun part, trying to get decades of grime out of the stamping. Of course, these older wrenches always had to have so much fancy stamping. That's what makes them look so nice. But cleaning them up makes them a pain in the. It makes them a pain. Oh. Oh. On my old ones, I just used an old three. Yeah. I just use an old 3/8 Craftsman. I have fans and fans and things above me, and I've got directional pushing down too. I don't know if you can hear the fans in the air filters or whatever they want to call those things. Air filtration units. Because of doing a lot of woodworking, I kick up a whole lot of horrific dust and dirt. And that's part of the reason why if you've watched me work on sockets and you see me doing it, like with rust and stuff, you don't see it float up. You see when it comes out, it might come up a little bit, but not much. But for the most part, when I'm working on the rust and stuff, you see it go down. Either it hits the mat or it just, ends up on me. It's because the way the air things work and the way the breeze blows on it. And I just ordered new set of filters for the units. And what I do to maintain the filters to make it easy to know when I need to clean them out or just flat replace them is I asked the boss. I got to throw that one out. I asked the boss for some silk ribbon, a little probably 1/4 inch wide silk ribbon, and then I cut strips probably about that big, sent it through the metal grate on the outflow, tied them in knots, so that way as the air is going through, they float in the air. And if I look up, that's why sometimes I'll look up, not only to make sure that they're doing their thing, but if I see them starting to sag a little bit, then I know that the two filters in the devices are starting to lose their airflow. So the filters are getting clogged up. So I just have little satin, silk, whatever they are, streamers to watch to keep tabs on airflow going through it. Because if not, I wouldn't remember. I wouldn't remember to check them randomly. That's basically my red light, green light on the filters in that. Just look for the streamers, and if they're still dancing really good, I cut them long enough that they should pretty much be straight out with just a little waver at the end. Like I said, if they sag a little, the filters are starting to get clogged. Time to go replace them or clean them. Well, that's like, I remember somebody's going to get a good giggle about it, but I remember when I was a little bit younger, just a little bit younger, is I remember going by riding a bike passed when I was up north visiting family. Good old Earl Scheib. And of course, you know, their bay doors are open, and then all you could smell is paint and other chemicals. I don't remember as a kid ever seeing anybody doing paint with any kind of respirator on. What was he? 99, 49.99 or 99.99 for a paint job? I can't remember. Guaranteed, if you wanted your car to look like a Rattle Can Express, go to Earl Scheib. But at least it's better than rust. Yeah, I couldn't remember what that was. I just remember going by them all the time, and I swear you could smell them from a block away. Ah, wrong direction, wrong time. I don't need this one. Actually, you know what? I could use this one. When I get the gunk, grime, and scratches off of this one, then there'll be my gunk, grime, and scratches, and not somebody else's. I don't mind cleaning up tools because I prefer clean tools, especially my toolboxes. But at the same time, is that's somebody else's gunk. That's somebody else's neglect. That's somebody else's abuse. I don't want their gunk and crud in my box. If I do it, that's on me. I just don't need somebody else's mess. Oh my gosh. I found, and I did not want to look at the price because I was afraid to look at the price. But I found at, hold on. Yeah, I don't need that stuck in my hand. We were at a antique mall, and I found a stingray. That thing looked like it just came out of a warehouse that was lost in time. Uh, I went looking all over it, and I could not find anything that said it was a reproduction. Uh, Somebody had clackers on it. They had uh, put a permanent clip to put cards instead of just clothespins. They put curb feelers on them. Oh, I really wanted it, but I did not want to know the price because I knew I would probably have a coronary, and I was going to meet a whole bunch of new people. You know, nurses, paramedics, doctors. Because I know that would have, whew, I know daggone good and well that somebody wanted a crazy price for it, but I'm pretty sure it'd probably be worth it though. Now, it's been many years. Many years since I've actually seen a functional stingray, but I don't know if I've, not since I was a little kid, I don't think I've seen one in that kind of condition. Usually you can look up in the certain areas and you can see rust. Of course, I didn't have a flashlight with me to, hit the key spots, but that thing was just, oh, it was crazy clean. Get back to play with my new Dremel toy. Get the angry bee back. Actually, you know what? No. It sounds like an annoying mosquito in your ear. Yeah, like I said, no torque. No torque. I'm sure you heard you may have heard the motor almost cut out because I accidentally pushed a little bit too hard. I'm learning I like it because it's thin and tiny, but these paws, I'm going to have to learn what finesse is about. Okay. First I wasn't too impressed with that little thing because of the lack of torque. But the more I played with that little bad boy tonight, it's kind of growing on me. As soon as I learn how to, there we go. As soon as I learn how to finesse it, I think this little bad boy is going to be very, very, very handy. Especially when I start working with some of the micro bits, and if I got to dig or scour something out, I think it's going to be really good. Don't tell anybody I said that little goober is good. Oh, I want that one. I want a different one. Okay. Yeah. Well, that'll be that's part of next Wednesday's video. But I couldn't resist. I had to use it, had to play with it. And those that have watched tonight, they got to see it before the video gets released. This might take about 3 years. This one big old wrench. At least it's long. Now, I have a method to the madness by going this direction first. So don't forget, these old tools were not, old tools like this are not, let's see if I got one. Well, probably not. But they're not like today's Matco Snap-on Cornwells, you know, that they're smooth as glass, high polish, uh, smooth as glass, high polish. These have always been porous. Plus, with their age, they've been dinged and dented on. And by going this way, back and forth first, helps get into all those little cracks and crevices. And then I'll go longwise. The baby Dremel, I got at Ace Hardware. I had a coupon that another wire. I had a coupon they needed to use that gave me, I think, $10 off 50 or something like that. So all said and done, I think that was $50 out the door. I still need to find a replacement for my 35-year-old one because I've replaced the brushes in it, and I've done other work to it, and it's starting to slow down, and it's starting to have issues. Let me finish this up real quick on this side. Normally, it does good getting the crud out of all the little pores and the dents and dings. There we go. Helps when you get the speed right. just to give you a loose, rough idea. Anybody that's worked with these old tools knows how porous those are. See how dirty it is just by doing a little cleaning. Little 91% isopropyl. There she is. At least that side. Not bad for that old rusty wrench. Inside looks good again. That side looks good. I just got to get the rest of it. It's a slow pain in the butt process. So let's see. Hey, Jeffrey, you have a good week too. Good weekend. Enjoy. Be safe. Hope the weather doesn't get too bad. See, that's the funny thing. Ooh. For the wire. Oh. Didn't. Well, I'll be picking wires out of my pants and my jacket all night. It was kind of a trade-off because when I met my wife for lunch because today's my day off. Met my wife for lunch. She pulls out the Ace Hardware thing we got in the mail. She had a coupon, and then she tore another coupon and handed it to me. It said 10 off 50. She said, "Don't spend a lot of money." And I forgot she had one for, I think it was buy one get one free on some products she uses and she likes. So it's like, oh, that's win-win. She gets to buy what she wants. I get to buy what I want. We're good. To be honest, I don't know if they legitimately have red paint in them from the factory, or let me show you what I've done. I don't know if they've had red paint from the factory, but I see a lot of wrenches that do have them. Or it's just that it looks good because people do kind of like what I did on my Proto and then my Mac. Okay, should be back. Uh, so you're talking about like when somebody does it on it's done on the adjustables, like this diamond tool horseshoe. I've seen these, and this one actually had red paint down on the inside. I'm wondering whether a lot of manufacturers back in the day did it on adjustables. Now, I haven't seen it on the on any other wrench type. It's primarily adjustables where I find residual old red paint hiding down inside. So I don't know if they came from the factory that way, or that was just a way for people to identify their tools. But this was my, I'm sure Diamond didn't use this color if they ever did. That was my silly creation. I went to clean this Diamond tool horseshoe adjustable, and when I was digging into it to clean it, I had found when I got the grease and grime off it, that's when I found red paint down in the bottom of it. And it wasn't thick paint, it was thin. It almost kind of like a thin layer of old car paint, before they put multiple layers on. That's what it looked like was down inside the adjustables. Any other style wrench, I haven't seen paint on them. Now these fall under adjustables also, even though it's a pipe wrench, but it's still adjustable. So I've seen it where the inside of these have had different paint inside these. I've seen some that were some old ones that had residual yellow, red, and blue. And it's almost almost a blue, like, goodness, spiders are back. Almost that kind of blue. But it was always just down where the names and stamping was. That was it. So whether people customized them on their own back then, there it is. And thing is done biting me. Who knows? They could have been a factory job, because a lot of like on alloy artifacts, it's all black and white. So you can't tell whether there was any kind of coloring to it. And where I have found stuff with color, don't know if it was legitimately done that way or not. But what do I know? I'm still learning. See if I can get this tidied up a little bit more. That'll be another tool out of the never-ending backlog. And because this one was hit by the grinder by somebody, this one later on, or maybe tomorrow, will get coated with oil. Because these grind spots are down behind, are deep enough, they'd probably be highly susceptible to rust. And since I want this one to go active in my wrench drawer that I grabbed first, not in my collectible drawer, it's going to be, or secondary. This will go in my primary drawer. I want to protect it. Now it's time to make a really big mess. Oof. Need a refill. I know I've said this for like 3 weeks. Most of the wire bristles that I've kicked up on this table, I learned a long time ago. I probably said this 1,000 times. Is a little cleaner and a paper towel. And most of them come off the tabletop. I know when I'm bluing tools. Uh-oh. Felt something I didn't like. That must have been a piece of debris. When I'm bluing tools, because obviously use a ton of steel wool. So when you're doing that, you end up with steel wool mess all over in a pile. I use LA Awesome because I get it by the gallon jug, throw it in a zip spray bottle, spray it down, take that, most of your steel wool mess, scoops it up. Super super quick way to clean stuff up. My squirrels have severe OCD on some things, but they have zero clue on other things. I guess that's a quirk of ADHD and hyperactivity. Well, ADHD is hyperactivity, but I think that's just one of the little quirks. But I also think that because of that, it's I get hyper fixated too. Uh, so, and if I get hyper fixated, then no stone gets unturned for sure. I was watching. Oh, Scott Crafter likes his tub of towels instead of a lot of the mechanics that I watch. Um, I don't know whether the tub of towel rags are better than the liquid, but that snap-on screwdriver, hang on, this side needs a little more attention. There we go. No debris, no real grime. Okay. But I grabbed tub of towels, heavy duty cleaner degreaser. I tried cleaning up, I tried using it and scrubbing this, and it lightly cleaned some, but it was still a train wreck. It was still a mess. But I put LA Awesome on this, and or no, sorry, Red Rag, and just went like this on it, and then that's what it turned out. So I don't know whether because the rags have a little bit of texture to it that it gives a little scrub action, but I know just with a red rag, the LA Awesome blew the tub of towels juice way out of the water. So my little wrench tidied up. Even in there, they look good, ready to work again. There she is. Good old Williams, even with a munched up body work from a grinder. Who knows? That could be the owner's way of identifying his wrench from anybody else's. Oh yeah. I go through these every which way but loose. Because what I think the alcohol helps lift it. I mean, the wrench was nice and clean and shiny, but that was just after that one side. And now this wrench is ready to go to the box and do one of two things. It's either going to unloosen some nuts and bolts, or it's going to adjust somebody's attitude. It's one or the other. I have a crazy pile of assorted chemicals and cleaners, not big ones, just the smaller containers. I'm always trying to find the right one, and I found that different products work on different things better. I do have a silicone spray. It's just a little spray can. It does a great job on plastics as not as a cleaner, but it doesn't just coat it. It seems like it's silicone or something else because it seems to absorb into the plastic, the top layer of the plastic a little bit, and kind of hydrates the plastic that has gotten funky because it's dried out. Oh. But I know I've accidentally got it on uh, other stuff, and it just left the stuff either slimy or it wasn't right. So I think that part of why I got a 4 or 5 tier shelf that's got so many varieties of bottles of cleaners and chemicals and stuff, and kind of like the way I clean tools. Uh, I started this with the wire wheel, and then I knew I had to go to the 1x30 instead of just jumping either back here or straight over to the fiber wheels. You just kind of time. You end up finding an assortment of, because I have Flitz, Brasso, Plastex. Well, it's over on the other thing, but I have Mothers, uh, magnesium and metal cleaner too. Uh, Wait a minute, I'm missing the containerator. Yes, I am. Ruh-roh. Oh, uh-oh. I think my phone's dying. Yep, phone's dying. Phone's dying. Phone's dying. Ah, nuts. Oh. I don't know if anybody can still hear me or not, but the mic is going to have to get turned off. Hopefully you can still hear me. Okay. Audio, I don't know how the audio is going to sound, but you're off the actual phone speaker, because all of a sudden I looked up and the screen was 90% dim. I was down to 5% battery. Uh, Another crazy thing that'll clean metals up too. Glass plus. But somewhere, I don't know what I've done with it. Kind of bothers me. But unless I took it oh, it's over on the I know why. I was using it on the box, on the toolbox. Is I don't have the powder form, but I have the liquid paste form of Barkeeper's Friend. So I can dribble that on there onto something and actually scrub on it too. I find that works on some materials, not all materials. I know Scout Crafter uses the powder stuff out of the container, kind of like Bonami or Comet. Then he gets it wet and makes a paste and all that. I just got a container that has it already liquefied. Don't use it on everything because it's got a little bit of acid. It's a little acidic, not very acidic, but it can eat stuff if you keep scrubbing on it. But I had 2 Lufkin machinist wood boxes with the tools inside. But the wood boxes were grungy and just horrible looking. And I used that in good old blue towels. Just lightly did it and then got a little damp water towel to kind of wipe it down. The boxes came out great. Even the internal little gold design they put in there with Lufkin and Thinking that at that time it was coming out of Saginaw, Michigan. All that on the inside looked great, but it still kept some of the. It didn't eat up the finish or the stain or anything else. Looked pretty cool. Doesn't work on everything, but it's that hit and miss trial. You kind of play with it on this, play with it on that, see what works, what doesn't work. Uh, I have not attempted to use that on any grungy acetate handles yet, but I may do that on. I know I got a couple grungy ones out of that toolbox, but I threw them in the tote because I figured I could use them to practice getting the mange off them. So I'm probably going to take one of those and use Barkeeper's Friend on it and see whether that cleans up the helps clean up the mange. Because if I get the big chunks off it, get it down to some semi-decent acetate, then I can go after it with plastics or flits to, and then hit it on the pads and clean it up better from that point. Oops. And I'm trying to get, oh, there we go. Oh, crap. Oops, sorry. I've been on doing this for over 3 hours. It's been a blast. It's been fun. Got a couple tools knocked out. Great conversation. But I gotta go hit the sack because I'm on call and I don't need to be driving a bucket truck exhausted. So I appreciate everybody that has watched, everybody that's chatted. It's always been fun. I started this thinking it was just going to be a one-off thing, but the first two I did, they went sideways real fast because it was just a Friday night shop time, BS, whatever. But then I turned around and I changed it to work on tools and interact. And then I found that I'm actually having a lot more fun with that. So, appreciate everybody that watches, subscribes. Anybody that hasn't gone back and looked at it, don't forget, anybody that's still left over here, make sure you, this Sunday is the end of the month, and this Sunday is when I do the drawing for the screwdrivers and the knife and that other armored tool. So Don, make sure you check off on that. You know, I've already talked to Mrs. Bigfoot. She agreed. Close enough. Because between you, I think Rusty Dave's is just on the other side of Lake Erie. Yeah, close enough, good enough. So we're kind of making some minor exceptions to the rules. But my giveaway, my rules, and like DJ out in Oklahoma says, my tools, my rules. And my wife and my stepdaughter got me a sign for the shop, a little one that says, my garage, my rules. So I'll get to play. I haven't figured out how I'm going to do this one. So I think we're going to have to do the roulette wheel, see who wins, because I know a lot of people did not watch the entire video because I was cleaning a tool, and then at a couple different times I said what they need to do, and not everybody followed that. So I know that greatly compressed, and I know I don't have a whole ton of comments. I get a bunch of viewers, but not a bunch of comments. So I think we're just gonna open up that more and just, but still trying to keep it in the North America realm. Uh, gonna play it by ear as long as I'm home. So some point in time Sunday, whenever I wake up or whenever I get home, because being on call, I never know what's going to happen. So should be fun. It'd be cool. Next, in about 4 or 5 years, I'll probably hit 2,000, and we'll do this all over again. So I'll be most likely back at this next Friday. So everybody have a good night. Good luck in the hunt.